The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Hi children, today I am going to begin the session by saying a quote. Give to the world the best and the best will be coming back to you. So my dear children, we can begin the session by doing the recap for the previous class. In the previous class, we studied about cloning vector, and there are commonly used cloning vectors: plasmid vector, bacteriophage, cosmid vector, transposome. Then we came to know about plasmid vectors, and related to plasmid vectors, we understood that they are circular, double-stranded, self-replicating, extracellular, chromosomal circular DNA. And from the naturally occurring plasmid, artificial plasmid vectors can be constructed, and examples are PBR 322, PUC 18. Then we came to know about PBR 322 and PUC 18. Related to PBR 322, two scientists, they have reconstructed the artificial cloning vector, and from the name itself we can say P stands for plasmid, B stands for Bolivar and R stands for Rodriguez. Then we understood about the features of a cloning vector: origin of replication, selectable marker, cloning site and vectors for cloning genes. All these are the features needed for the DNA to act as a vector. In that, the first one we understood about origin of replication, and then selectable marker. In that we came to know about how the recombinants can be selected by eliminating the non-recombinants, and then we understood that in the normal E. coli antibiotic genes are not present, but in the artificial plasmid vector TETR and AMPR are the antibiotic resistance which are incorporated into it. And next one is the cloning site. There should be only one cloning site for the DNA to be cloned, otherwise what will happen? DNA fragmentation will be taking place. And later on we came to know, we studied about how the recombinants can be selected, and two methods we came to know. One is inactivation of antibiotic, and number two is related to the insertional inactivation. And later on we studied about vectors for cloning site, where the first method was gene transfer, which is taking place through vector gene transfer, and number two, it was being related to, that is, in that we came to know about plasmid vectors are helping for transferring the gene, and that is related to plants, and in the case of animals it is retroviruses. And the second method for the gene transfer, we came to know about vectorless gene transfer, and then there are many other methods related to vectorless gene transfer, that is microinjection, gene gun, descent, pathogen, vector, and later on we understood that for the host to take in the recombinant DNA, the host should be competent. So, for the host to be competent, the host have to undergo certain processes, and those steps we understood by knowing that the bacterial cell, which is a host cell, should be treated with divalent cation like calcium, and later on it should be incubated with recombinant DNA on ice, and then heat shock will be provided to the host cell, and then later on again the bacterial cell will be incubated on the ice, and in that manner the host cell will be ready to take up the recombinant DNA. So, till this portion we studied in the previous class. Now, we are going to study the next topic, that is processes of recombinant DNA technology. So, till here we understood which are the tools needed there for recombinant DNA. Now, by taking in consideration those tools, processes are there of recombinant DNA technology where we will be able to produce the ultimate product needed for the use of human being. So, here you can see following steps are related to recombinant DNA technology. Number 1, isolation of genetic material, that is DNA. Number 2, cutting of DNA at specific locations. Number 3, amplification of gene of interest using PCR. Number 4, insertion of recombinant DNA into the host cell or host organism. Number 5, obtaining the foreign gene product, and number 6, downstream processing. So, my dear children, these steps one by one we will be looking into detail. In between these steps we have understood many things. For example, cutting of DNA at specific location, we have studied about restriction endonuclease, isn't it? And then next one related to isolation of genetic material DNA, how the genetic material DNA can be isolated, can be taken in a purified way, that also we have studied. Anyway, we are going to learn these steps and we will be understanding about it. So, number 1, stage number 1, isolation of genetic material DNA. Nucleic acid is the genetic material which is present in all living organisms. In majority of organisms, this is present in the form of deoxyribonucleic acid, that is DNA. We know that DNA is the genetic material. In most of the living organism, genetic material is DNA. Now, DNA must be present into pure form, that is free from other macromolecules like protein, RNA, enzyme, etc. Now, in order to cut the DNA with restriction enzyme, why the DNA must be present in pure form? Because it has to cut. When it is been in pure form, then only restriction enzyme will be able to select which part is needed there, and from there it can cut the DNA into fragments. So, for that the DNA should be purified, as DNA is containing protein and RNA, enzyme, that means DNA is mixed with protein, RNA, enzyme, etc. So, this protein, RNA, enzyme all has to be removed from the DNA, and DNA has to be separated from these macromolecules. Then only the fragmentation of DNA can be done with the help of restriction enzyme. Isolation of genetic material DNA is carried out in the following steps. Number 1, since the DNA is enclosed within the membrane, so in order to release DNA along with other macromolecules such as protein, polysaccharides and lipids, bacterial cells or plant or animal tissues are treated with the enzyme, isn't it? So what is happening there? DNA, it is enclosed with the membrane, and in order to release the DNA, to separate the DNA from the other macromolecules such as protein, polysaccharides and lipids, the bacterial cell or the plant cell or the animal tissues, they are treated with enzyme, lysozyme for bacteria, cellulose in the case of plant cell, chitinase in the case of fungus respectively. My dear children, the enzyme lysozyme is related to bacteria. So, for the bacterial cell, in the bacterial cell the DNA is mixed with macromolecules. That bacterial cell has that DNA has to be separated from these macromolecules. So, in that case enzyme lysozyme is needed there to separate the DNA from these macromolecules in the case of bacteria. In the case of plant cell, the DNA present in plant cell will be separated there from other macromolecules with the help of cellulose, or we can say cellulase. Cellulase is the enzyme. Then in the case of fungus, it is chitinase. So, like this, certain enzymes are required there for separating the DNA from the macromolecules. Now, RNA can be removed by the treatment with ribonuclease, whereas proteins can be removed by the treatment with protease. As I told you, DNA is mixed with RNA, protein, like that kind of other macromolecules. So, all these have to be separated from each other. For that, RNA is removed by treating with the enzyme ribonuclease, and proteins are removed by treating with protease, which is the enzyme needed there for separating the protein with the other macromolecules. Now, the next one, other molecules can be removed by appropriate treatments, and ultimately purified DNA will be precipitate out after the addition of chilled ethanol. So, what is the thing it has been said? The other molecules which are present there with the DNA, they will be also removed by using an appropriate treatment, and ultimately a purified DNA will be separated, or it will be precipitated out by adding the chilled ethanol. Ethanol is an alcohol. When an alcohol is added to the DNA, what will happen? Purified form of DNA we will be getting, and this can be seen as collection of fine threads in the suspension. So, in the ethanol, when the DNA and the other macromolecules will be added, that time DNA will be seen as thread like structure in that suspension. Now, the DNA threads can be removed. When the DNA threads are seen there, it will be removed, and how it is being removed? By a process, that is the process by which DNA thread wind on the reel is called spooling. So, through spooling DNA threads can be removed, that is the DNA threads will be winded on the reel, and that process is known as spooling. This is important, my dear children. So, in this manner DNA thread can be removed, and this step already we have studied, isn't it? Foreign DNA is there, the vector is there, the foreign DNA restriction enzyme is cutting the foreign DNA into fragments, and here from the vector a portion is being cut with the help of restriction enzyme. Later on the desired foreign DNA will be joined with the restriction ligase on the vector, and a recombinant DNA is formed there, and this recombinant DNA is incorporated into the bacterial cell where the multiplication of the cell is taking place, isn't it? It's a diagrammatic representation of recombinant DNA technologies. In this manner, the multiplication of cell is taking place where recombinant DNA is present in it. Now, after the isolation of DNA, that is a purified DNA will be getting by the removal of other macromolecule from it. The second stage is cutting of DNA at specific location, just now which we have seen in the diagram. Restriction enzyme digestion are performed by incubating purified DNA molecules with the restriction enzyme. This is done at the optimal conditions for that specific enzyme. So, what is the second step? Cutting the DNA at specific location. So, restriction enzymes are needed there for cutting the DNA at specific location. And third stage is isolation of desired DNA fragments. After fragmenting the DNA or after breaking the DNA into pieces, the desired DNA will be isolated. That is how it has been isolated, by using agarose gel electrophoresis, which we have already studied in our previous class. It is a process through which the DNA fragments will be separated. Smaller will be moving very faster than the larger one. Agarose gel is used there for the isolation of DNA fragments or separating the DNA fragments. The activity of the restriction enzymes can be checked. Since the DNA is negatively charged, it moves towards the positive electrode or anode, and DNA tends to separate out in this process. After that, the desired DNA fragment is eluted out. So, in this process, through the process of gel electrophoresis, the desired DNA will be separated. For that process, the gel electrophoresis is used. Now, stage 4, amplification of gene of interest using PCR. And what is PCR? PCR is the polymerase chain reaction. Is the best defined, or we can say is best defined as the DNA replication in vitro, that is in the laboratory. With the help of PCR, DNA replication or the copying of DNA or the production of multiple copies, we can use the process called PCR. This technique was developed by Carey Mullis in 1985 and received Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 1993. So, this is a scientist who has developed this technique called PCR. PCR is used for the amplification of gene of interest using two sets of primers. So, in the PCR, the amplification, or we can say the multiplication of the gene of interest is being done, and how it is being done? By using two sets of primers. And you can see the basic requirement of a PCR reaction are as the following. For amplification or for multiplication of DNA through the process PCR, basic requirements are there. Number 1, DNA template is needed there. And what is DNA template? It is the double stranded DNA that needed to be amplified. So, double stranded DNA is needed, which is needed for amplification. And number 2, we said that for the PCR, primers are needed there. And what are primers? These are chemically synthesized oligonucleotides, that is short segment of DNA that are complementary to a region of DNA template. You know what is the meaning of complementary, isn't it? So, what is primers? Primers are chemically synthesized oligonucleotide, that is they are the short segments of DNA which are complementary to the region of DNA template. So, this primer is used there in the case of polymerase chain reaction. Now, the third is the need of enzyme, and two enzymes are commonly used in that. One main common enzyme which is used there for polymerase chain reaction is Taq polymerase. It is isolated from a thermophilic bacterium, that is Thermus aquaticus. So, from the bacterium Thermus aquaticus, Taq polymerase is isolated, and it has a property to remain active during the high temperature, which have induced denaturation of double stranded DNA. That is, this enzyme is used to denaturate the double stranded DNA. Next, it also helps in the amplification of a segment of DNA to approximately billion times. That is, the multiplication of a segment of DNA will be done in such a way that billion times the multiplication can be taking place with the help of the enzyme Taq polymerase. That is, 1 billion copies are made. It is the process of replication of DNA which is repeated many times, isn't it? So, through the replication of DNA, what is happening? Multiple copies of DNA is made with the help of Taq polymerase. That is, 1 billion copies can be made with the help of Taq polymerase. So, that is about the requirement which is used in the polymerase chain reaction. Now, we have to go through the main steps involved in PCR technique. So, there are 3 main steps involved in PCR techniques. Number 1, denaturation, number 2, annealing, and number 3, extension. So, first one we can see what is denaturation. Already I told you in the requirement, enzyme is needed there, primer is needed there, and DNA template is needed there. Now, with those requirement, PCR is going to process, and the first step for that process is denaturation. The double stranded DNA is denatured by using high temperature of 95 degree centigrade for 15 seconds. Now, each separated single strand acts as a template for DNA synthesis, isn't it? So, what is happening there? We can see that it has been said that the double stranded DNA, it is been denatured, and how it is been denatured? By giving high temperature of 95 degree centigrade till 15 seconds. So, that what will happen? The double stranded will be separated into single stranded, and each will be acting, each strand of DNA will be acting as template. Number 2, annealing. Annealing means joining or hybridizing, isn't it? So, here you can see 2 sets of oligonucleotide primers are used to anneal. Anneal means to hybridize. This step is carried out at a slightly lower temperature, that is 40 to 60 degree centigrade, using Mg2 plus and DNTPS, that is D stands for deoxy, N stands for nucleoside, and TP stands for triphosphate. So, by using Mg2 plus and deoxynucleoside triphosphate, the annealing is being done there, that is the hybridization process is being done there, and it is being done depending on the length and sequence of the primer. How long is the primer and what is the sequence present in the primer, depending on that the annealing process has been done by using Mg2 plus and DNTPS. Now the third one is extension. The thermostable enzyme, that is Taq DNA polymerase, is used in this reaction. So for extending that sequence of DNA, thermostable enzyme, that is Taq DNA polymerase, is used, which can tolerate the high temperature of the reaction that extends the primers by adding nucleotides complementary to the template. So what it is doing? It is able to tolerate the high temperature and then it extends the primer. How it is extending the primer? By adding nucleotides which will be complementary to the DNA template. So, and in extension, Mg2 plus is required as a cofactor. So what is the role of Mg2 plus? It is used as cofactor for thermostable DNA polymerase, and example is Taq polymerase. Thermostable polymerase is an enzyme which is Taq polymerase. So these steps are repeated many times in order to obtain several copies of desired DNA. So in this manner, the copies of desired DNA is produced. So this is the steps which is taking place in the polymerase chain reaction. My dear children, this topic is very important. Now based on polymerase chain reaction, you can watch the video so that you will be able to understand it more clearly. Now you can watch the video. children, you can see here it is the same, that is PCR what we have discussed, and based on that you have just now watched the video also. Here you can see in the figure, this is the thermal cycler which is the PCR, and in this DNA sample will be added, primers will be added, nucleotides are added, Taq polymerase is added, a mixed buffer is added, as well as PCR tube will be present there. So, this with the help of this PCR tube, all these things will be added in that tube, and this tube will be inserted into this thermal cycler, and you can see the PCR cycle. So, in the PCR cycle what is happening there? This is, we know that the double stranded DNA. Now, the first step is denaturation. At 95 degrees centigrade, what will happen? The strands separate. Here you can see separation of the strand, isn't it? One strand is this, the other one is this one. And then later on, number 2 step is annealing in the PCR process. And here you can see in the lower temperature, that is 40 to 60 degrees centigrade, it has been said, primers are added there which will bind to the template. So, these are the primers. So, they are binding to the template, isn't it? Now, the third step is extension. At high temperature and by using Taq polymerase Mg2 plus, what is happening there? The extension of the primer by incorporating the nucleotide with the DNA template is taking place. This is the one cycle, isn't it? Like this, many cycles will be repeated there for the production of the copies of DNA. So, this is how the polymerase chain reaction is taking place, or you can see another process the same, that is polymerase chain reaction. Again, in this process you can see this is the double stranded DNA. In the double stranded DNA, the first step is denaturing. 95 degrees centigrade, what happens? This double stranded DNA, 2 strands of DNA is been separated, and we will be getting a templates, isn't it? 2 templates of DNA will be getting, and in the next step you can see the annealing process is taking place, where DNA primer is added, DNA polymerase, that is Taq polymerase is added, whereas the nucleotide is also added there, and this is annealing process is being taking place with the help of the Taq polymerase enzyme. You can see the shape of the enzyme here, isn't it? This is the Taq polymerase enzyme, this is the DNA template, and these are the nucleotides, isn't it? As well as this is the primer, isn't it? So, all these will be taking place during the process called annealing, and later on what is happening there? The third step is extension, where the extension process is taken place and repeated cycle is been done there 20 to 40 times, and you can see what happened there, isn't it? The new template is being formed there which is complementary to the old template. So, in this manner the DNA copies are obtained with the help of the process called polymerase chain reaction. My dear children, this part is very, very important. Now, the next step is stage number 5, that is ligation of DNA fragments into a vector. Ligation means joining of DNA fragment into the vector. So, after formation of copies of DNA, that DNA will be incorporated into the vector, and this process requires a vector DNA and a source DNA. In order to obtain sticky ends, both of these should cut with the same endonuclease. So, the vector DNA is needed there, as well as the source DNA which is being prepared now by the help of polymerase chain reaction, that is needed there, and with the help of restriction endonuclease, the piece of DNA will be cut from both the DNA, after which both are ligated by mixing vector DNA gene of interest and enzyme DNA ligase to form the recombinant DNA or hybrid DNA. So, after purification of DNA, what happened? That is, through gel electrophoresis, the DNA will be purified and fragments of DNA is present there, and that DNA again it will be moving into the process called PCR, and through which a new template DNA will be formed there, and later on with the gene of interest that DNA will be cut into piece with the help of restriction endonuclease, and by using the vector DNA it will be incorporated into the vector DNA with the help of the ligase enzyme, that is ligation of DNA fragment, and later on it will be introduced into the vector. Now, stage 6, insertion of recombinant DNA into host cell or organism. That is, this can occur by several methods, before which the recipient cells are made competent to receive the DNA. With the help of many methods, already we have studied those methods, isn't it? Vectorless gene transfer or the gene transfer taking place with the help of vector. These are certain methods. In that we have studied about ballistic gun, isn't it? Then micro injection, all these are the methods through which the gene of interest has been transported or transmitted or transferred. Before that, the host should be made competent. That also we have studied in our previous class, how the host should be made competent. Now, if a recombinant DNA bearing gene of resistance to an antibiotic, that is example ampicillin, is transferred into E. coli cells, the host cells become transformed into ampicillin resistant cell. So, the vector which will be transferring the gene of interest, that new recombinant DNA fragment which is introduced into the E. coli bacterium, that E. coli bacterium will be showing resistance to ampicillin if that gene of interest is having the ampicillin resistant cell or gene in it, or if it is tetracycline resistant gene, surely the E. coli cells will be having those recombinant DNA which is being resistant for the tetracycline cells. So, in that manner with the help of vector, the recombinant DNA will be introduced into the host cell. Now, the ampicillin resistance gene in this case is called a selectable marker. So, when this ampicillin resistant gene is introduced into the E. coli, surely ampicillin resistant gene is a selectable marker. When transformed cells are grown on agar plates containing ampicillin, only transformants will grow and others will die. So, how this process is taking place? With the help of selectable marker, the transformants will be selected there. That means, with the transformants, non-transformants are also present there. So, for eliminating the non-transformants, selectable marker, that is ampicillin resistant gene, is acting here as selectable marker. It will help to eliminate the non-transformants and by making the transformants to grow on the medium. So, what will happen to the others? The others will die. So, that is step number or stage number 6. Now, stage number 7, obtaining or culturing the foreign gene product. When you insert a piece of alien DNA into a cloning vector and transfer it into a bacterial cell, the alien DNA gets multiplied. The ultimate aim is to produce a desirable protein expression. What is the ultimate goal of this technology? It is to produce a desirable protein expression. For that, a piece of DNA, that is foreign DNA, is incorporated into the vector, and then later on this vector will be transferred into the bacterial cell, and in the bacterial cell the DNA will be multiplying, isn't it? If the protein encoded gene is expressed in the heterologous host, it is called recombinant protein, and if the protein encoded gene is being expressed there in that host cell, surely it is said to be recombinant DNA, because this one is produced with the help of taking a gene of interest, or we can say by taking a desirable gene or a fragment of DNA in which a desirable gene is present there, which will be expressed there, isn't it? And that is recombinant protein. The cells harboring cloned genes of interest are grown on small scale in the laboratory. Later on, the multiplication of this recombinant protein is taking place, that is, they will be cloned there, and where it has been cloned, it has been cloned or it has been multiplied in a small scale in a laboratory first. In the laboratory, it is being grown there. And these cell cultures are used for extracting the desired protein using various separation techniques, and later on the cells which are grown there, they will be cultured and they will be used for extraction for the desired protein by using various separating or techniques are there which will be separating these desired proteins, and they will be extracted from the cell culture, and those separating techniques are bioreactors. So, what are bioreactors? They are vessels in which raw materials are biologically converted into specific products. Biologically converted means by using living organisms, or we can say by using microorganisms, the raw material will be converted into specific products. And commonly used bioreactors are stirred tank bioreactor. This is a commonly used bioreactor for producing the specific product, that is stirred tank bioreactors. Now, these are cylindrical with curved base. These stirred tank bioreactors are cylindrical and the base will be curved. It has a stirrer which mixes the content and make oxygen available in the process. Stirrer is present, that is why the name came as stirred tank bioreactor, because a stirrer is present there which is able to mix, or which is mixing the content very nicely by making the availability of oxygen in that process. A bioreactor has the following components. In the bioreactor, we can see this is bioreactor, and in this bioreactor, you can see the components are present there. Number 1, agitator system. Number 2, oxygen delivery system. Number 3, foam control system. Number 4, temperature control system, and number 5, pH control system. All these systems are present there in the bioreactor. You can see here, this is the bioreactor, and the internal part of the bioreactor or inner part of the bioreactor, you can see agitation system, isn't it? Next one, you can see thermal jacket is present there, as well as the pressure gauge is present there, as well as you can see discharge of cooling water, sensor is present there, steam, for the steam to move out, a steam tube is present there. So, these are the certain components which are needed there for the processing of the raw material, so that the recombinant protein can be produced with the help of bioreactor. Now, after the production of a recombinant protein, downstream processing is needed there, and what it is, all the process to which a product is subjected to before being marketed as a finished product are called downstream processing. What is downstream processing? It is a process which is taking place before the product is marketed to the market. So, those process together is called downstream processing, and in the downstream processing we can include separation of gene product, purification of a gene product, addition of preservatives, clinical trial for medical purposes if it is drugs, and quality control test. So, these are certain steps which are used there in the downstream processing. Number 1, again I will repeat, separation of gene product. The gene product or the recombinant protein which is formed there through the bioreactor process or through the bioreactor, that gene product will be separated. Later on it will be purified, and then preservative will be added to it, and then it will be taken for the clinic trial if it is for medicinal purposes, and then how much quality it is having, for that quality control test will be done there. Isn't it, my dear children? So, I think you would have understood the topics very clearly, and if you are having any doubt related to this portion, my dear children, you can call me and clarify your doubts. So, with this the chapter is completed. Jot down the notes by seeing the virtual class and send the notes to me for correction, so that I can go through it and I can give you the direction if the notes are not proper. So, my dear children, be on track, as you are more responsible now because you are not with us, you are at home and we are in the school. So, the interaction between us is very less. So, my dear children, please be on track, and with this I am winding this session. We will be meeting in the next class with a new chapter. So, my dear children, stay safe and stay healthy.